Part 3, the ground invasion trap. So if America cannot negotiate a ceasefire and cannot withdraw, what does it do? The pressure builds to escalate, to do something dramatic, to show strength. And that is where the ground invasion trap begins. Right now, there is talk of approximately 200 Marines coming in from Okinawa heading to the Middle East. And the rumor, and I want to be clear this is a rumor, is that the intention is for these Marines to take Kharg Island. Now let me explain why Kharg Island matters. Kharg Island is where Iran exports approximately 90% of its oil. 90%. It is Iran's economic lifeline, its most critical strategic asset. And the logic of taking it seems very compelling on the surface. If America takes Kharg Island, it destroys Iran's ability to fund this war. It cuts off Iran's oil revenue. It brings Iran to its knees economically. And it would look fantastic on television. Trump would look strong. American morale would surge. But here's the problem. You can take Kharg Island, but you cannot hold it. Kharg Island sits very close to the Iranian coast. The moment American Marines land on that island, Iran starts hitting it with artillery, with drones, with missiles. The island becomes a killing ground. So to protect the Marines on Kharg Island, America has to take control of the nearby coastline. But now American forces are on the Iranian coast, and the Iranian coast is overlooked by the Zagros Mountains. So Iran starts hitting American positions from the mountains. So now America has to take the mountains too. And once you are in the Zagros Mountains, you are inside Iran. You are occupying Iranian territory. You are no longer conducting a limited military operation. You are in a land war inside one of the most geographically challenging countries on earth. This is mission creep. And history tells us exactly where mission creep leads. In 1965, America sent 3,000 Marines into Da Nang in Vietnam. Just 3,000 Marines. A limited mission, a defined objective. 4 years later, America had 500,000 troops in Vietnam. 500,000. From 3,000 to 5,000. Because once you commit, once you are inside, you cannot leave. Because leaving means admitting defeat. And the sunk cost, the lives already lost, the money already spent, makes leaving psychologically and politically impossible. That is the sunk cost fallacy. And it is one of the most powerful and dangerous forces in all of human decision making. Once you have invested enough, once you have lost enough, you keep going. Not because going forward makes sense, but because stopping feels like all those losses were for nothing. America went through this in Vietnam. It went through it in Iraq. It went through it in Afghanistan. And it is about to go through it again in Iran. Part 4, why America is actually losing this war. And now I want to tell you something that most mainstream coverage is completely hiding from you. The American military does not want to fight this war. Not because American soldiers are not brave or capable, they are. But because the American military has war gamed this conflict, tested it in simulations, run the scenarios, modeled the outcomes countless times. And every single time they run the war game, America loses. Let me say that again. Every single time American military planners simulate a full-scale war against Iran, they lose. Why? Because the American military is built for a very specific kind of warfare. It is built for shock and awe, for overwhelming air power, for precision strikes that destroy an enemy's defenses in days. That is what happened in Iraq in 2003. America achieved air supremacy in days. Rolled into Baghdad in weeks, toppled the regime in under a month. Easy, clean, fast. But Iran is completely different. Iran has been studying America's military playbook for over 20 years. It has watched every American war, analyzed every American tactic, identified every American weakness, and built its entire military strategy specifically to counter what America does. Iran does not try to fight America the way America wants to fight. It does not mass its forces for America to destroy with air power. It disperses, it hides, it uses asymmetric tactics, drones, hypersonic missiles, underground facilities, proxy forces across the region. All of it specifically designed to negate America's advantages and exploit America's vulnerabilities. And nowhere is this more visible than with America's aircraft carriers. the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald Ford. These are the most powerful naval vessels ever built. Each one carries enough firepower to devastate a small country. They are the ultimate symbol of American military power, and they are sitting far away from Iran's coast, threatening, posturing, but not actually doing very much, because getting too close to Iran means entering the range of Iranian drones and hypersonic missiles. And a carrier, for all its power, is also an enormous target. Losing a carrier would be one of the most catastrophic military and psychological blows America has ever suffered. So the carriers stay back, and Iran knows they will stay back. The Iranians have spent 20 plus years preparing for exactly this war. They know the American playbook better than most American generals, and they have the perfect counter to it. Part 5. What should America actually do? So given all of this, given that America cannot stop, cannot withdraw, cannot win cleanly, and is sliding toward a ground invasion trap, what should America actually do? The honest answer requires stepping back and seeing the bigger picture. This war in Iran does not exist in isolation. It is connected to everything else happening in the world right now. The trade war with China, the war in Ukraine, the tensions in Asia, all of it. These are not separate conflicts. They are all symptoms of the same underlying problem. American empire is overstretched. It has its fingers in everything. Every conflict, every region, every dispute, and by having its fingers in everything, it allows its enemies to provoke it, to drag it into conflicts that drain its resources, damage its reputation, and weaken its position globally. That is exactly what is happening right now. The only real solution, the only path that preserves both American power and global stability is a fundamental change in approach. Instead of trying to dominate everything, America needs to sit down with everyone. Russia, China, Iran, all of them, and acknowledge that the old world order where America was the unchallenged hegemon is over, and that a new order is needed. One where America is not the bully, but a genuine partner, where every major power has a stake in stability, where the global economy can function in a way that benefits everyone, not just a privileged few. What does that actually look like in practice? It means America stops trying to maintain military bases in 80 countries. It means America stops using the dollar as a weapon of economic warfare against nations it disagrees with. It means America sits at the same table as Russia and China and Iran and says, we all have interests here. We all have things we need. We all have people who depend on us. Let us build a system where everyone gets enough of what they need, that nobody feels the need to go to war to get it. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. And right now, wisdom is the only thing that can save us from the catastrophe that is coming if this war continues on its current path. Whether America has the humility and the vision to take that path, that is the most important question of our time. And honestly, I do not know the answer, but I do know this. The longer America waits to make that choice, the more expensive and the more painful that choice becomes for America, for Iran, for the entire world. So let us just recap what we have covered today. This war has its own momentum, just like Ukraine, and neither side can easily stop it. America cannot negotiate a ceasefire because Iran's demands would trigger a catastrophic 5-step chain reaction. GCC becomes Iran's client states. Petrodollar collapses. Japan and South Korea remilitarize. Europe makes peace with Russia. US dollar loses reserve currency status. American economy built on $39 trillion of debt collapses. America cannot send ground troops because Kharg Island leads to the coast, leads to the Zagros Mountains, leads to a full-scale land war, mission creep exactly like Vietnam, from 3,000 Marines to 500,000 troops. America cannot win militarily because the American military loses every single war game simulation against Iran. And Iran has spent 20 years building the perfect counter to America's playbook. America is trapped. It cannot go forward. It cannot go back. It cannot stay where it is indefinitely. And the only real exit, the only path that does not lead to catastrophe is wisdom. A new partnership, a new world order where America leads not through domination, but through cooperation. Whether that happens, only time will tell. Subscribe.